Okay, hello everyone. Sorry for the late, that we have some technical problem of getting me in. My name is Joseph, and thank you, the organizer, Cloud Expo, to invite me to speak on behalf of IDCA about the international standards for data center and cloud infrastructure to make it as a future-proof data center. All right, so let me get started with so where we came from. So we came from the evolution. It all come from a process, and when we start the economy with the agricultural, where we are using limited tools, limited platform, and obviously our living standard is also limited at that time. Next page, please. Next. All right. Then during the industrial booming, as you can see, our tools are being more advanced. Our living is getting better, but then at the same time, there's more problem arise. Next, please. So the problem with the industrial economy is we have energy problem, we have increase in wages, salary, we have globalization issue, then we have generated lots and lots of pollution. Those are the problems coming from the industrialized economies. Next, please. When we now get into the digital economy, we're supposed to living better. And we're living in a more complex world. Next, please. And so, so in the digital economy, our living is getting better, but then at the same time, we are having more and more problems coming in from our tools and our infrastructure, which is next, please. So the platform that support the digital economy is really our data centers. And the data center are so complex, and we're having a lot of problems within the data center when we're going into this digital economies. Next, please. So how important is this platform? When we said that the platform is supporting the entire digital economy, imagine all these giants companies, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, if they lost the data center, what is the value of this company? So the data center supporting the economy is becoming a very crucial matter. Next, please. And that's not all. We are living in a world that every day in a growing of quintillion bytes of data. So that figures mean like 18 zeros at the back. And we are growing that much of data per day. So while we are having a lot of problem with data center, at the same time, the data center has been growing in that size, that magnitude. Next, please. All right, and obviously during these 2 days of Cloud Expo, I'm sure you guys have been hearing lots and lots of good trends, good tips for how the industry is growing in big data, e-commerce, IoT, all sort of growth. But at the same time, our data center has been demanding a lot and lots of demand coming from every single application wanted to be like utility grade. I'm sure you probably don't worry too much about you don't have your voice network. At the same time, if you are ordering your lunch through a ordering apps and it's going down, and everybody is so frustrated. So a food ordering apps are not supposed to be mission critical, but now it's becoming very critical particularly during this pandemic. And also problem with the capacities. A lot of people want it. A lot of bots want you to have the maximum capacity in the peak time, but then in the idle time, I don't want to have so much traffic. So all these problems coming in from the demand when the industry is growing in that space. Energy wise, obviously the operator obviously want to reduce the cost by reducing energies providing in the data center and so on. So at the end of the day, all this industry growth are resulting in a lot of pain when we are managing the data center. Next, please. those people who are managing the data center, running the data centers are so confused because there are not that many educations that would allow different mix of skills. Data center involve many different like civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electronic engineering, telecommunications, and the skill set just not up to standard for one single person. And there are a lot of technologies involved in a data center, and the different standards coming from different area like electrical, like telecommunications and computer equipments and all that. So all these are in the result of a confusion. And one more thing about the confusion coming from data center is many data centers are not built for application centrics. So they're built for the purpose of building it, and then the application is only going to fit inside. So they're not built for the desired application. So all these problems are happening in today's data center operation. Next, please. Now, this 5 conversation has always been hearing in a lot of large companies, particularly running data centers. Like people are complaining and say, "Hey, this is how the way it was done. So now don't blame me." Now you can imagine the old way of doing things is not good enough. People are saying that it's not an IT problem, it's a facility problem, so it's not my problem. And so you see that the conflict in the organizations start pointing other people's. Obviously, there's also people saying that we are building a 99.999 uptime data center, so my app should never go down. So that sentence is almost saying that we are building a Titanic, would never sink, but then at the end it sank in the first day. And lastly, I'm sure a lot of people hear this conversation is that finance usually won't approve the budget, but then the business owner always wants you to do more. So how to do it? I mean, if you are operating a data center, how can you do it when the finance people not approve your budget to increase, but then the user and the business owner want you to do more? How are you going to handle this? Next, please. Now, the problem comes into 2 main reasons. Number one is there isn't one single education source or a certification that allow professional people in the data center field to be able to gear up all the skills. So if you are expert in computer IT, you may not be expert in backup power supply or like the site construction. So there isn't a unified education provided for the professionals doing it. And the next problem that's even bigger is there isn't a universal standards all around. So there may be European standards, there's ITU standards, there's American standards, maybe Japanese standards. So as far as from the operator standpoint, it's very difficult to follow through once you have different kind of type of equipment put together. Next, please. All right, here I bring to IDCA.
The IDCA standards so far, from what I've seen, and based upon the metrics, will revolutionize the IT industry by far.
I believe if it stays on course, IDCA will be the de facto industry standard.
The U.S. House is very proud of being part of the IDCA initiative.
To me, IDCA is redefining the standards. They're defining their own standards, not by being vendor-driven. I would say it's a new revolution to standards and how the data center world should be driven.
LinkedIn is always looking to be on the forefront of innovation, so adopting the IDCA standards is a no-brainer.
My name is Lance Walker. I'm a member of the IDCA Technical Standards Committee.
My name is Ashley Sharif. I'm legal counsel and a board member of IDCA, and I am IDCA.
I'm Eric Wendorf. I'm from LinkedIn, and I am IDCA.
I am IDCA.
I'm Bob Long, an IDCA instructor, and I am IDCA.
Hi, I'm Rick Collins. I'm from AIG. I'm the global head of data center operations, and I am
a member of IDCA.
Hi, I'm Richard Zanata, work for the U.S. House of Representatives. I'm the Director of Networking and Facilities, and I am IDCA.
So IDCA is a committee of people where we are trying to make the standard for a direction to the digital infrastructures. And this digital infrastructure is going to hold the world's data center, cloud technologies, IoT, big data, all these kind of trends and technologies based on, and IDCA is driving the methodologies to standardize all this infrastructure. Next, please. We're coming from a group of people from different industries, different leading companies from the healthcare sector, from telecommunications, from governments, from science research like NASA. We are coming from a company like from e-commerce, media, and so on. So each different vertical where they are running data centers, they all comes into IDCA to build this standard committees. Next, please. So we do certification for professionals from Salesforce. Next, please. For AWS. Next, please. There's people from Visa, LinkedIn, Expedia, AIG. Next, please. And there's people from Walmart. Next, please. From T-Mobile. Next, please. And Microsoft, Apple, and KPMG, and so on. So all these professional people are getting themselves trained and certified by IDCA. Next, please. Next, please. All right. So by now, so how are we going to get to the certification? So we have two mainstream. One mainstream is the cloud infrastructure. Another mainstream is for data center infrastructure. And you start from a specialist certificates, and then you will go up to yes, this one, and then you will go up to either from operational engineer or a infrastructure engineer. And then when you want to go up, become a authorized person, then you will have to have both operation certificates and the infrastructure certificates in order to be a authorized professionals. So once you become an authorized professionals, then you will be able to authorize other students. That's the way it works. So there's different level of certificates and different level of courses that you have to take in order to get you to the final authorized professionals. Next, please. All right. So now let me zoom into the certifications and what really makes the standard works. Next, please. Now imagine in every single data centers, we separate it into 7 layers. The top layers is what the data center means for is the application layers. So let's say, for example, Uber, or let's say, for example, Food Panda. That's the application. That's the top layer, the tip of the triangle. And then the next layer is going to be the platform. Like if you're running on AWS or if you're running for Google Cloud, so that's the platform layer. And then the next layer is the computer layers. So you're putting into a what kind of computing, whether it's a core computing or whether it's an edge computer. So that's computing power. And then the next layer, the 4th layer, is then the IT infrastructure, where the network cabling, the switches, the gigabit fiber optics, and all that. Then the 5th layer is the site facilities, where the securities, power generators, all those, air conditioning, all those things come into the facilities. Then lastly is site. Where did you put the site? How are you going to build a building? Are you on the 1st floor? Are you on the ground floor? Where's the building? And lastly, topologies. When you build a data center, are you going to have one in Hong Kong, one in Singapore, and then one in Vietnam? What kind of topology that you're going to build your network? So this 7 layer is how we define from the site decision all the way down to the application layers. Next, please. And in each of these layers, then we have 7 way to quantify how efficient is your data center, like how well is the resilient. You know, do you have enough resilience in your computer power? Do you have enough resilience on your network? Do you have resilience in your computer room air conditioning? Capacity, you know, are you well planned your capacity? Efficiency, how well is your data center being built for efficient operation? Availability, that's a term we always talk about. Are you 99.9, 99.99, those kind of availabilities? Innovations, do you have innovation ways to implement your data center? What kind of cooling you're going to cool down your data center? You know, is your data center built next to the ocean, next to the river? You know, what kind of ways that you build a data center into a robust data center? Operation, how's the operation team built? How is your workflow done? What is your escalation process? Then lastly, safety and securities, from physical security to digital securities into cyber securities. So all this measurement is to measure each layer, how well is your data center, and we call it infinity paradigm. And you will see it in the next slide. Next slide, please. So in each of these paradigm, if you are offering like the basic layers, like you're offering the physical building, then you are only providing the facilities. You are real estate, right? And if you do one more layers, which you are providing the site facilities, like you're providing securities, you're providing air conditioning, you're providing power supply, then you are co-location. You do a little bit more, you're providing computer rack, you're providing the gigabit traffics, the gigabit switches, the Cisco and all those firewall and all that, then you are a managed hosting service. And if you do them all, then you are ASP, you are like a Google, you know, from building a data center all the way to the Gmail services to you. So that's all the way down. Next, please. So if you imagine that you have 7 layers and you have 7 different measurements, that will give you 7 by 7, that will give you a 49 modules that you have to look into. And it's a very complicated measurement in every single layers, every single measurement to get you to be how good your data center is. Next slide. Now this is important slide, and this is going to be in an exam when you're taking the certification. Now, if you're going to have 7 different measurements in each of your layers, so there will be a measurement, a scoring table of how well the efficiency of your data center. Now, it's efficiency, not efficiency. Now, efficiency 係功效 ，efficiency is 效率. So efficiency is more talk about how big the power you can generate. Efficiency is how well you handle the small things. So the efficiency that we talk about in every single layers, we are giving it a grading, what we call grade X. Now, it comes from grade 0, grade 1, G2, G3, and G4. The best of the world data center is going to be in G0. So imagine that if your application layer is G0, so you have everything redundant, you have everything N+1. But then, do you have a G0 in your network, for example, right? So these are all the problems that you have to build a utility grade, or what we call a G0 grade data center. Next slide. Now, out of all the concerns, the IT people, like whether it's a hardware, telecom, everything, the most important thing at the end of the day is people. People is running the data center. Next, please. Next, please. Now, so when we talk about how important this data center as a infrastructure for the entire digital economy, down the key point is people. You know, who is running your data center? Next, please. Problem is, those people who run the data center, do they know what's going on? Are they being confused? Are they being persuaded by the vendor that, you know, the technology that they're going to deploy? You know, are they supply driven or demand driven? You know, And do they have good enough policy making ways and communication in between people, like people handling the facilities, people handling the rack, people handling the computer power? Are they talking in the same language? Do they have a good standards? Next, please. Now, during the COVID-19 pandemic, it's really giving all the IT people a good lesson. If you are well prepared, if you have a good team, good people, good standard in the data center, this is where you can handle the pandemic, where everybody's doing video call, all the internet traffic suddenly goes up, so everybody is watching Netflix. So the COVID-19 is really giving us a lesson. So if you feel like do want to know more about the standardization of data centers, next slide, you have my email address, and feel free to give me a call and send me an email. And I hope that I will see you soon with anything to do with this IDCA standards. Thank you very much.